Everybody, my name is Anush and welcome today to another video on the channel. Now, a lot of the times on YouTube these days, when people see a game that is played by a person who is 1447 rated, they immediately click off. And I don't blame you. You are people who are interested in seeing beautiful games, and those usually are only played by people who are Grandmaster level. And for those reasons, we watch channels like Gotham Chess, Epic Chess, Agedmator's Chess channel to watch these Grandmaster games. But I want to show you with this game that even a person as low rated as me, who has a Ted Mosby laughing for his profile picture, can pull off a beautiful game. So let's get into it. I play e4, he plays e5, we enter the Philidor, I pressure his pawn on f7 with the bishop, this is very standard, and he continues developing. I continue developing, he tries to get a clamp on d5, but I ignore it and I play knight to g5. Knight to g5 comes with a clear threat, but this is a very well known threat. It comes a lot of the times and lines in the Philidor defense, a lot of the lines in the Italian game have this knight to g5 maneuver. So it is a very well-known response to go knight to h6, and it is a very well-known response for me to go queen to f3. In a lot of positions in the Italian game, queen to f3 doesn't work because the knight is usually located here on c6 and it can jump forward to d4, simultaneously threatening a fork and my queen, which would mean that I would have to move my queen back to the d1 square, basically making it a loss of a tempo. But since my opponent decided to go knight to d7, this is completely possible, and he has to come up with another defense, which is of course knight to f6. This blocks the side of my queen and also prepares to push d5, which is my opponent's long-term goal in this position. But okay, I retrieved the knight because I was not really comfortable with it being here, and I also wanted to open the eyes of this bishop. So there you go. And he decided to play bishop to g4, understandable, hitting my queen, taking care of some important squares. And now if he likes, he can capture this knight. It's not really a dead lost position if he does so. But my opponent plays knight to g8. The move looks depressing, but it's actually a good move. He wants to A, support this knight, and B, route his knight to e7 to support d5, a thing that I've mentioned a million times in the past. Plus, this knight on h5 doesn't really have a future staring into a brick wall. It did, however, have a defensive purpose, so I just jump right back with the knight. Now, this is not the funnest part of the game yet, so stick around for that. So, knight to g5, attacking f7. Again, he defends neatly with bishop to h5 this time. But okay, I decide in this position to castle. His king is still in the center, and it will be a couple more moves before he can get it away from the center. And if he's not careful in those couple moves, he may hang this pawn and trap his rook. So, yeah, it's nice to get a castle going. And also, after he played h6, kicking my knight, and he played queen c7, remember by the way that these two queens are on the same diagonal, I can play f4. This was my plan, so after some shenanigans, I did manage to pull off f4. What is so important about f4? I am threatening to open the f file, and if he for whatever reason decides to capture, I capture back. His bishop is now hanging. If he does this, this is just positional suicide. You do not want the knight on the edge of the board like this. The king is so exposed here. You don't want this position, trust me. And even worse, if you decide to play bishop to g6, which I think a lot of you may have played, this is atrocious for black. You lose the right to castle, and you're in the middle of nowhere. If you play this, this is just a very bad position for black. But okay, after I played the move f4, he decided not to capture what I just showed, but to play a very interesting and sharp line d5. Hitting my bishop. No problem, I hit his knight in return. What is so interesting about f takes e5 is that after captures, no matter what, I emerge up a pawn, and usually with a better pawn structure. So, after d5 and e takes e5, he decided to chicken out of this line and played knight to d7 trying to win the pawn back this way while still targeting my bishop. No problem, I said, I'm taking another pawn. No problem, he said, I can take the pawn back on e5. Now it may look natural for you to take it with a queen, but don't get fooled. Don't. That's a bad position now. But if you take with the knight, it also comes with its own very unique set of problems. Beginning after the move, bishop f4. The knight is not only pinned to the queen, so you can't just grab the bishop because you lose the queen, but also the knight is now twice attacked and only one time defended. Very bad stuff. So bishop to d6, understandable. Now, a lot of you may think about playing d4 here, but after d4 he can actually capture, capture, and capture back, and he is up a piece. We don't want that, this is no good. So I played bishop to b3. Now this threat of capturing is no longer possible, and d5 is a real threat. How does my opponent defend? Well, with a very nice move, c5. Now d5 doesn't work, so I would like to maybe prepare it with c3 in the future, or apply even more pressure by playing the move rook to e1. Rook to e1 has to be met with the only move, which is f6. But this knight still cannot move. And now it is even pinned to the king, not only to the bishop. So I play c3. We have a sandwich of pieces that all see each other, even though no one sees no one, and it's all around this e5 knight. So what can my opponent do here? Well, a lot of you may think about playing long castles. Why? We get the knight out of the way, you still cannot capture it, you don't have sufficient material, plus I recapture the pawn, and you even defend the bishop here with another piece. Seems like a win-win situation. Nope, d4. If you move the knight, I can capture, 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 capture. I'm up 2 pawns. But there is even another line that after d5, if you decide to capture and capture and move the knight, you lose the queen again. Because this bishop can go backwards and it pins. Did I see this in the game? Absolutely not, I got lucky. But after takes, you take with check, you take back, and you're just completely winning in this position. So my opponent did not go for that. And after c3, he played knight to e7, which he wanted to follow up after d4 with knight f5, counterattacking my queen. And here we reach the position from the thumbnail. Everything looks at everything, but in reality, it is my pawn on d4 who's the hero. D captures on e5. For those of you who are just putting this on some back screen and playing Minecraft in the meantime, look at the video. This queen is up for grabs. You can capture a full queen. Problem? Don't think about recapturing. He can play bishop to f1 and be completely winning. Don't you dare think about that. But there is another problem. It is to capture the bishop. With discovered check, and after he moves, I take the queen. This pawn single-handedly took a knight, a bishop, and a queen. The most legendary pawn ever. And now I'm completely winning. I have a protected passed pawn, which is even going to be connected, which will come with discovered check. And your knight is hanging. He saves his knight with knight to e2 check, but after king to f1, he runs out of time. Why? Because this entire game, I was putting so much pressure on him that if you look at his clock, you can see it devour in front of your eyes. While I spent a couple seconds, he spends literal tens of seconds, and even after all of that, ends up losing. So that was my game of sacrificing a queen and of having a wonderful stare-off attack. And now go down in the comments and tell me. I know I will not become a Grandmaster, but even if I am not, Can you enjoy nice games like this? Thank you for watching, and may God bless you all.